Hey everybody, good morning. Steffi Starr here. Welcome to the Love Seat. I am sitting, of course, as always, with my shining glitter unicorn of a sister, Dana Sardano. We are at the Ubuntu Fish Gallery in Stuart, Florida, and it is an artist gallery and an intuitive lounge. So lots of stuff happens inside of these walls. If you're local, swing on in. Tuesday to Saturday, 10-ish to 4-ish, gallery hours. So that's kind of how Dana rolls. She's got a hot topic today. I'm super psyched. I know nothing about it.
Knows nothing.
Can't wait to hear. So take it, mama.
Okay, so I had an experience this weekend that I feel compelled to share. It's personal. I'll be honest with you. I got a little trepidation. I could actually feel a little like tightness in my chest. Because I'm not looking to ruffle feathers, but I was so taken with the process and how I handled it, and I just have to share it with you because a different version of Dana. I always say an older version, but I mean an older version, not an older person version, so people would think a younger version. How do you say that?
A previous
version. I love
Wordsmith in the hizzy.
A previous version of Dana Sardano would have flipped a table and there would have been a police report. But I looked at it differently, and I just, like I said, I want to share this with you. So I'm going to try to keep it streamlined. I'm going to try not to get too much in detail, but I have to start with some of the facts, some of the backstory, so you understand.
I'll zoot you.
No, but it's important that I give some of the backstory. So 2 years ago, almost to the day, 2 years ago, I had a friend. They were a couple. I didn't really much care for the husband, but I really thought a lot of the woman, who is a very, very talented psychic medium or a reader. And she was writing a series of children's books, but she was writing one in particular that she wanted to illustrate and publish, and she asked me to do it. Lesson number one I learned through this experience was my not properly setting boundaries, my acting out of desperation because I wanted so badly to have my art out there that I didn't properly put the boundaries in place. So we loosely spoke about the terms and said, oh yeah, well, we'll let the men handle the contracts later. Okay, I learned the lesson. The deal ultimately shit the bed, but I created the characters based on her. It was a little story, like for like young kids, like a picture book story. Created the characters based on her characters that she wanted, based on the aura colors. And I also did a picture, created an illustration for each part of the story. So I probably created like 22 illustrations. I think there were 20 in the story, and then there was the beginning and the end. And it took me, you could imagine, it was at least an hour an illustration, at least. So we're talking somewhere between 20 and 30 hours. It was devastating for me when the deal shit the bed. And it did, because they wanted to give me, and I'm just going to be honest about it, they wanted to give me $500 for my illustrations, which I loosely agreed to early on, because it's not about the money, I want this to be successful.
Sure.
But what I didn't understand until the contract was presented was that they wanted me to sell the images to them for $500. So sell them, so if the book became a success, I had nothing to do with it. I saw nothing from it. And I wasn't okay with that. So after everything, the illustrations were created, I was like, listen, I want to do a licensing deal. You know what I mean? I'll take your $500, which is, it's a weekend at Costco. You know what I mean? It's not about that as much as it's about, if this thing blows up, I don't want to be lost in the shuffle. I put my heart and soul into creating these images. So it was very peaceful, but nobody could agree. The deal ended like immediately. Clearly, it was the end of the friendship, and that was that. I made a point on social media to then unfollow them because it was painful at the time, because I lost a friend, to see anything that they were doing.
Sure.
I don't want to block. I think, to be honest with you, unless somebody is harassing you, I think blocking is a little bit aggressive, in my opinion. It comes from a place of fear. It was just like, I don't want to see you. Not remembering that they may not have blocked or unfollowed me. Because once again, out of sight, out of mind, because I find my mental and emotional health hinges on what's not in my sphere of influence, or hinges on what's in my sphere.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we're all like that.
Yeah. If I don't know, I just want to kind of be in my world. We've made it clear in some of these videos about my bubble.
Tend your garden.
Okay, tend my garden. So fast forward 2 years. These pictures up to 30 hours of my work and my creation really were sitting in a drawer somewhere. Forgotten. So I had this idea recently. I'm very excited. Oh my God. I've had this idea recently because, as you know, if you've watched any of my video or our videos, forgive me. Any of my videos. No, I'm obsessed with chakras. I'm obsessed with chakras because the health of these energy systems are really the only answer to our wellness in the world. And it's so obvious to me, and I'm not going to go off on that tangent. So I decided, and it came to be an inspiration, right? I decided I'm going to write a book for children on about the chakras. So initially I thought it would be like a picture book, right? But as I'm writing this book, it is becoming a full character development story. I'm like in it now. It's really, really awesome. I actually gave about 10 pages to Nala to read yesterday, and she's like, this is interesting. I was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? These are the kids that I could put like, you know, a hot fudge brownie on the table, and they're like, why are you feeding us that? Like, nothing, mommy does nothing right. But so it's really, I'm creating, you read a couple pages, I'm creating something really, really special. So I had this insight about a week or so ago. I have those illustrations that I created for that Aura book that never went anywhere. There were no contracts signed. I'm not going to obviously use the story because it has nothing. It's not mine, and it has nothing to do.
Right.
But these characters that I created are color coded. So there were 5 Aura colors. There's 5 of the 7 chakras. I created 2 more, and now I have these cute little characters that I have now envisioned in the story. So being overzealous or super excited, I took pictures of just the characters and I posted on my gallery page, hey, you know, check this out. They happen to be the colors of the chakras. I'm very excited. Well, that's when the shitstorm began.
I know where this is going.
Yeah. Guess
now
what happened next?
I know the whole story.
Yeah. Guess what happened next? I don't know if you watched Tosh Boydo, but he like,
yes.
Yeah. Guess what happened next? And then the guy always gets hurt in the end. Yeah. So on Saturday, I'm busy here, and when I'm getting ready to leave, she'll be cool with this. My sister-in-law calls me. She's like, dude, you don't understand. Because I haven't been near social media. I was busy all day. Dude, you don't understand. So-and-so posted on the Facebook page called you a terrible artist and a hack and a thief and totally defamed me, right? She's like, wow. I couldn't help myself. You know, because she's scrappy too. Couldn't help myself. I got involved, right? So now
Rachel. I know who it is.
So she's all like, you don't understand. But she's trying to be like above it all. If you understood the 3D consciousness and blah, blah, blah. I didn't see any of it. So she sent me a couple screenshots. I took a glance. But here's the first thing that I learned about myself. I learned how important it is to me, as you say, to tend the garden. I didn't get all involved in reading what she sent me. I was aware because she sent it to me, but I really didn't want to see it. But I did see, again, totally called me out, called me a thief, and then, you know, the people commenting. So I was like, oh, okay. I got a couple choices here. I could, you know, prove that I'm right. And then I realized the importance of sometimes of us having to prove that we were right. I'm like, no. I know what I did. I know I even had a sit down with myself before I decided to use these pictures because I wanted to make sure it was in alignment with my integrity. I think I might even asked you. Like, right?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Yeah.
Those characters are amazing. They're
so cute. They're so cute.
Feet.
And again, it's my creation.
Yeah.
And they're different names, different characters, different everything. It is a picture that I created with an inspiration from something, right? Okay. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to put this to rest because I'm above that. You know what I mean? And then I go and I check my Facebook page and didn't realize he tagged me. So this diarrhea spew about what a terrible person I am is now on my page. So now I didn't read every single thing, but I took a look. Now because she is very talented, has a huge following. So there were, when I glanced on Saturday, 99 comments. Everybody got involved. And here is the part that I found interesting, and here's the part that I want to share. I was so blown away by how quickly people go to duality, how quickly people go to picking sides. I became the narcissist, and she became the victimized empath. It was really like, it was like boom, right? And I had to be that role in order for her to feel victimized. So then I didn't react. I gave it some thought. And I was like, oh, I've seen this behavior in her before. There's something that she kind of goes to that victim mode. The victim victor. It's got narcissist empath, victim victor. And I was like, oh, okay. And understanding a little bit, knowing enough about her, I was like, all right, I understand where this comes from. And then I started feeling compassion.
Right.
And I was like, ah, right? So that happened. And then I saw people that they don't know me. They don't know me. Oh, what a terrible person I am. And then I realized how amazing it is how people just want to be angry. These people, they don't know. They just know what one person said, and they're like, yeah, she's a blah, blah, and she's a blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, they're talking about, one woman, and again, this was all at like quick glance. Like I wasn't studying them by any means. But the one woman was even like, oh yeah, I know who that is. Found me on my page and like did an angry face on my, So I'm having these realizations, and I will be honest with you, I'm vacillating. My initial instinct was like when I heard and saw about this, Rachel was all, in this outrage, was this is just preparing me. This is just preparing me for the next step, because the more visible you become, the more people want to criticize you. And then it got me thinking about, you got to ignore your critics, because if you listen to your critics, you'll never do anything. Yeah. I was told, when pigs fly, I'll be a successful artist, right? So you can't listen to your critics. So all of these things, so that was my initial, I also had this image in my head of when I used to live in Jupiter Farms, and I would walk every morning, and it was very rural out there. And in the spring, I saw quite a few on different days, hawks up on wires. And then you see the birds, the little birds that are fearful and intimidated by them, threatened by them, and they're dive bombing, and the hawk is just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Because the hawk has nothing to fear, and the
Right.
hawk has nothing to be concerned. The hawk is clearly the hawk, right? And these birds can't handle the hawk being the hawk. And then eventually the hawk gets tired of it and flies away. So I really looked at it that way. But then I slept on it, and the next day I started getting in my own head. Well, did you do something? And all of a sudden I caught myself trying to create the duality again. And what I realized was, I get her point. This is something she really wanted to do. This is something that really meant a lot to her. Something that since she's a child, she's always seen auras, and she's always wanted to do this, right? And she felt, because of her perspective, and wherever that perspective came from, she felt that I stole that from her. I'm not saying. She felt that. And that really, really upset her. Now, my perspective says, if you wanted to throw $500 at me to sell my artwork to you, to sell my creation to you, then you could have gone to anybody. If that was a reasonable price, throw it at somebody else. My withholding my pictures because I was setting a boundary, a little too late if you ask me, but because I was setting my boundary, my withholding my pictures shouldn't stop you from your dream. It didn't stop me from my dream. So to hold me accountable because you feel on some level shitty because you didn't do something you wanted to do, it's not for me to figure out. I mean, that's for you to figure. So I had that realization, right? Then there's another piece that has nothing to do with it, but has something to do with it. The day before, and you'll see how this correlates. I dated a guy 25 years ago, right? I was in my early 23, 24. We broke up when I was 25. We broke up when I got thyroid cancer, and I was like, what am I doing? This is toxic. This isn't working. It was clearly, he said some things, I said some things. He did some things. Like, it was not a good match at all. But in the course of this relationship, I think we were together for 2 years, I built this relationship with his parents. His parents were great. They're from Philly. His parents are great. We would go up. I've been up there for Christmas to visit them. I had gone vacations with them. They'd come down to visit. Like, I had a relationship with their parents. So much so that when I finally ended it with their son, I went up to New Jersey that summer to visit my family, and I drove out to Philly, which was an hour 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Like that. I drove out to Philly to like formally break up with them because there was this relationship. Whole bunch of years go by. I have no idea what he's doing. I have no idea what they're doing. Since I started doing this, the father has contacted me and has ordered or purchased quite a bit of artwork for me. So I'm always in contact with him either. And it's always sort of unsaid, but like I was kind of like you, like that sort of thing. So the other day, something I sent him because the Postal Service, that's for another video, isn't really, didn't
really
deliver
working
it.
very well.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not so, that's not so to streamline a process. But anyway, he called me here and we had spoken about that he didn't receive his thing, and then he hung up, and then he called me back like 5 minutes later. He's like, I gotta ask you. He's like, did you hold a knife to my son or pull a knife on my son? Is that why you guys split up? I was like, what? I was like, I know. Now, there was a circumstance that led to the end of our relationship that paints neither of us well, and I'm not going to get into it. But it was nothing like that. It was nothing like that. But I understood in that moment that that had to be his narrative. So his parents could pick a side, right?
Yeah.
And be cool with our breakup. Because why would you let this happen? You know, we love Dana. Dana's so great. For 25 years, these people, the one who told the story, the parents, and whoever else, walked around with the story, with this narrative that I pulled a knife on this guy, and that's why we split up. It did bother me. I thought it was comical. But I hang up with him, and then the next day, this whole thing happens with these characters and this. But what came to me, my understanding was, I had no idea. It did not affect me in the least. It was not in my life. It was not in my sphere of influence. It was not in my existence. It was meaningless what they said and what they thought. So now that I know, it should bother me?
No.
So that really was like mind-opening. Like, I could have been like, oh my God, I can't believe it, bro. I could have found him. But I was really blown away by that insight that I didn't know. So it didn't exist to me. Right? Same idea of unfollowing these people. I didn't know. It didn't exist to me. So all of these things, I was processing all of these things. And not only do I feel like the hawk, which is my spirit animal, by the way. Not only do I feel like the hawk on the wire, like I'm seeing all of this from like the top of a mountain going, oh, wow, I could have behaved in this way and gotten involved. And I didn't. And another thing that I learned about myself and that I learned about human behavior is when we're feeling bad about ourselves, I don't care how deep down it is in the subconscious, we find ways to make ourselves suffer, right? Check the ex-boyfriend's Facebook page. Oh, his girlfriend's so ugly, right?
Yeah.
Pick the scab. You got an email that was unpleasant. You keep going back and reading it. And even though that doesn't make sense, we kind of put ourselves in that place. And I felt a little bit of that tendency still there. Nothing crazy, but like where I would like my sister-in-law, who sent me the screenshots, when we would talk, because I talk to her regularly, when we would talk, it would come up, and I would allow, and we're talking over 3 days. What's today? Tuesday? That was Saturday. Yeah. I was over this by yesterday. So we're really talking a very short span of time. I'll save that for a second. And so that tendency to go back, like I could have gone and read all those comments. I could have allowed myself to feel shitty about all those comments, right? I could have gotten involved, and I chose not to. And now, 3-4 days later, I feel fine.
Right.
So it was really, really eye-opening. And this is not like, oh, I'm so great, but like of how much I've evolved from that, because I don't want to feel shitty anymore. You know what I mean? And how my ability to see other people's perspectives, it's not about sides. I got all of that. I don't agree with it, but that's not for that. You know what I mean? It's none of my business. You got to figure your stuff out. So I wanted to share that because we all have issues. We all have things that come our way and they suck us down. They suck us into that drama. And it's really easy to do if you're not paying attention. So I guess the takeaway is if you find that you're stepping into a hornet's nest somewhere, breathe. Before you flip the table, pull the knife, do whatever it is that you're going to do to react. Take a second and ask yourself, what am I given the opportunity to glean from this? Thank you for letting me share that,
Honey,
because
thank
that was
you for
something,
sharing
man. That was something. I was like, I just have to share two more things real quick. This is Patty. There it is. There's my disclaimer. This is Patty. This is Patty. One is their daughter, that is around the age of Nala, maybe 12-ish, commented, because I put it on Instagram too, how these are the pictures that you stole from my mother. So to allow the child to get involved in that and any of that
Says a lot.
says a lot. The other thing was, one of the comments was, our children, because they have a younger daughter as well, our children could take a crayon and draw better. The attacks were such a low-hanging fruit about what a terrible artist I am. And obviously I'd want, the Jersey side of me, the ego, but the Jersey side of me would be like, well, if my drawings are so terrible, then why are you so upset?
Yeah, there's that.
But there's that. But anyway,
There's that.
enough. Thank you for listening. Oh my God, thank you for listening. That was big. That was big. Anyway.
Thanks for sharing that. So from my perspective, I'll just say, I walked in here last Thursday to film, and I saw something on the table over to my left as I entered the gallery, and I was pulled over there, literally, like I felt psychically pulled. And I looked at these children, and there was something so visceral, such a visceral reaction I had to them. It was palpable. I was drawn to them. I immediately, in my heart, and I think I even said out loud, I love them. I love them.
They're really cute.
They're amazing. And it goes without saying. I mean, you are such a profoundly talented artist that for someone to, yes, be as upset as apparently these folks were about not having this trash art is, it's just very telling. But we all know what you are. We all know what you do. I look around this place, you can see right behind us, Dana's an incredibly talented artist, for sure.
With integrity.
With a ton of integrity, because she told me this story, and unless it was out there with these children already attached, she had taken no money. These children had not been attached to the original story, which she still had the storyboards, and she went through the storyboards with me and told me the story that this lady had come up with, and it was a great story. Sister, relax. You got some gold there. Go do what you need to do with another artist. Go figure it out, because nobody takes anything from us that we don't give away. And the fact that you had said, but we couldn't come to an agreement, and we just decided to part company, and these children were never attached to the story in the public sphere. They're yours. It's your creation. You can do whatever you want with them. And you've done something that is completely different.
Oh my God, so completely different.
It's so different,
yeah.
Except for the fact that they're the same characters. The story is completely different. So having said all that.
Let me just correct you. They're the same images, because I just want to be clear also. They're not the same characters.
Yeah, right. The names have changed.
The names and the personality, all of that. It's ink and watercolor on paper is all it is all that I created.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So here's another, the other as mirror 101 lesson, and that is we are only ever confronting ourselves. We create the universe in which we live. Our perception of reality is the reality in which we move and breathe and experience ourselves, and the seemingly others. There are no others. I love the proof of this lesson all the time, that we are just continually confronting the aspects of self that either serve us or do not. Because at the end of the day, apparently all these years later, these folks are still somehow connected to your Facebook account and knew. I mean, I don't have social media. Yeah. That's a whole nother show for a whole other day. I don't want to go on that rant, but not a fan. So the fact that all these years later, even after some animus or some, discontent around one business deal that went awry, they still have you in their sphere.
I was really surprised
which
about
is interesting,
that.
In and of itself. But then to, immediately pounce on this perceived egregious behavior is really interesting, because it is an opportunity to see ourselves. We are only ever experiencing ourselves. There is a singular energy in the universe. It is all is it. If I am it.
I love this. I love when you do this.
If I am it, you are it. So, I am the universe. You are the universe. We are the universe. We are the universe. just continually mirroring and reflecting back what serves and what does not through this idea, this illusion of other. It is the duality that creates our three-dimensional world, for sure, but all that duality springs from this empty void I could go on and on about forever. But it's the same damn story I tell every week in essence. Just a really great opportunity. What a profound opportunity to see yourself reflected in this, seemingly other popping off. And, unfortunately, her having to experience her own issues and confront her own darknesses and demons and whatever it is that is not resolved or settled for her. And, at some point, because you connect these videos to your Facebook page, unless she's blocked you already, she'll get to hear another version, all the commenters. But yeah, you're right. We love the duality. Like this is social media has perpetrated and it proliferates this idea of me versus you, us versus them.
The victim victor too.
And we're very pulled into our corner. It's victim victor. It's red and blue. It's white and black. It's rich and poor. It's all of these dualities that at the end of the day do not serve us.
Ubuntu. We're all in this thing together, man.
I am you. I'm gonna look at you. I'm going to look beyond your MAGA hat. I'm going to look beyond your BLM shirt. I just started doing, today was the very first of some PSAs I'm going to be doing on a daily basis. 60 to 90 seconds to start your day. If you're interested, it's at the Transformation channel on YouTube. I'll put a little link in the description. But yeah, just a way to start your day with a different perspective. I really want to remind people, your source energy, there's a singular energy in the universe. It is all is it, and it is you. You are it. You are only ever perceiving yourself vis-a-vis the quote-unquote other. There are no others. There's just you. So
can I just reiterate something?
Please jump in.
Because I definitely am. I hear you and I agree with you because it's the truth. But just to put it in different terms, I am you and you are me. But really, in this situation, yes, she was a mirror to me, but more so, when I stepped out of the emotion, when I stepped out of feeling victimized, I immediately was like, oh, I'm being victimized, right? When I immediately stepped out of, oh my God, I'm being attacked. Oh my God. And then the fear, right? What are people going to think? And immediately I have now, because I've trained myself, the ability to squish it. Doesn't matter what people think. It only matters what you think. It only matters that you are a person of integrity, that your words are in alignment with your actions. It's the only thing that matters. And anybody who knows you knows that. And anybody who doesn't know you, I don't want to say doesn't matter, but if they're not going to take the opportunity to figure that out, then they don't matter, right? To me, at least. So, you let go of that fear. And then I'm being attacked. Wait a minute, there's no victims here. This is an opportunity. And the moment I was able to take myself out of it and look at it and shine the light on it, and it all became very clear that the mirrors were everywhere, right? The mirrors were everywhere. The seeing myself and my concerns and my things that I need to work on and all of those things in all of the players. And that's my agreement with you with the singularity and that we're all one, just experiencing this off of each other.
And here's another really interesting aspect. I don't often bring it up because I just don't, but it's, we live in a perceived physical world. And we have science, and science explains a lot of things, fortunately. And it's good to understand how things work because then we are better able to navigate our experience. There is a concept, and there were two really famous physicists, Einstein and Niels Bohr actually had a very profound disagreement for all of their professional lives together, where Einstein felt like matter existed, that there was matter in the universe, and it was there irrespective of our ability to perceive it. And Niels Bohr's contention was that matter doesn't exist except for the observer observing the matter. So, because we have all this amazing technology, all of these decades later, after these two brilliant men have traversed this planet and brought us so much information, we actually have the technology and the tools to be able to measure this perceived concept and really dig down into this argument. And the interesting thing is science itself, quantum physics, has proven that Matter doesn't exist without an observer.
Say that again.
Matter does not exist in reality. Well, first of all, matter doesn't exist in reality anyway. Subatomic particles are not but energy. So there's that.
We can do that.
But even the perception of the matter does not exist without the observer. And I say it all the time, I'm nobody. Don't believe me. Please Google it. We have this technology. Let's really use it to make us smarter, not dumber. Matter does not exist without the observer. Subatomic particles are not active without an observing energy.
Can you, for me, apply it to the situation?
Yeah. So you just got done saying there were all these other people. Fear popped up because all these people were chiming in and diving in, and everybody has something to say. But these were not people with whom you were familiar. So you even felt a little compelled to share this caveat of not that they don't matter. Well, in real reality, in our quantum physics, mechanical physics world, they don't matter. If you
just being nice.
If you don't know, if you don't see, if you are not perceiving, it's not really there. So,
and that brings us to the very beginning of what I was saying. If I didn't have any idea about any of this, it didn't exist.
And this is why I'm not on social media. So I'm just going to put that in there because I need to see what my ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, ex-whatever is doing. Like I need a hot cow prod up my bum. You know what I mean? Like I just don't need that in my headspace. I tend my 6-inch garden with love and ferocity, and that changes my world, my world, because that's the world I live in. I understand there is a whole wide world out there, but it's not my world. My world's here. So without our perception, none of that stuff exists.
Yeah.
In reality, that's not just some, mamby-pamby fancy way of saying you don't matter because I don't know you. First of all, you do matter. But if I don't know you, you're not really there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
All right. Anyway, thank you for listening. That was pretty cathartic for me because even though I had the thoughts and the realizations, to be able to put it in one fluid expression was very, very helpful, and me just putting the bow and now putting it to rest. And then today I got to get to writing.
Oh,
it's
these
really,
characters
really good.
are
Oh my
super
God,
cool.
it's so good.
I can't wait.
Something's right. Like when I first started painting, it was, I couldn't stop. Like I couldn't stop. Like I was like every day, like Rob was like we would be going out and I'd be like in the dining room and he's like, can we go play? I couldn't stop. And now it's that same sort of inspiration with this book. And that's how I know it's going to be good because it's flowing through me. It's amazing. It's amazing. I can't wait to share it with you guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And Steffi, you the bomb.
I love you, sister.
I love you too.
Have a great day. Thank you, guys.